Alright, this is video number 2, how to draw angles. Today we're going to look at how to draw angles, but not angles inside of a shape, okay? Instead we're going to draw angles on the XY coordinate plane. Alright, every angle is going to have a starting side called an initial side. Every angle is going to have a stop point called the terminal side. So this is our starting point, initial side. This is where we stop, our terminal side. Okay? Make another one over here with my initial side and my terminal side. Now I'm going to go ahead and complete the angle by drawing the arc with an arrow. That completes my angle. It says this is where I started, this is how far I went, and this is where I stopped. I'm going to make one on the other one as well. So let's see. These are two different angles. One's 110, one's negative 110. Let's talk about some similarities and some differences. Some similarities. They both have the same initial side. Alright? They both have a terminal side. They're both 110 degrees. Some differences. The one on the left is positive. The one on the right is negative. Okay? What makes it positive? What makes it negative? Well, notice on the positive, it starts on top of the initial side, and it goes counterclockwise. Notice the negative angle starts on the bottom of the initial side, and it goes clockwise. Okay? Those are important differences that we're going to need to remember when we're drawing our angles today. Before we get to drawing the angles, I'm going to show you some commonly used angles that's going to help us when we're determining where to draw our terminal side today. Okay? So you may want to pause the videos and write these down. I don't believe that these are in your notes, but here are some commonly drawn angles that we're going to use as reference points to help us draw our angles. Here's a 90-degree angle. Notice it's just one quadrant. One quadrant is 90 degrees. Here's my 180 degrees. Notice it's two quadrants together. It makes a half a circle. Notice because it's positive, it's on the top. Here's 270 degrees. It's three quadrants. 1, 2, 3. And here's 360. It's all four quadrants, or it's a circle. It's one circle all the way around. Notice the initial and terminal side are in the same place because we go all the way around. Okay, that's 360. And those are positive. Let's look at the negative angles. Here's negative 90. Notice it's still one quadrant, but instead of being at the top, it's at the bottom because it's negative. Negative 180 is still half a circle, but again, it's on the bottom because it's negative. Negative 270 is still three quadrants around. And negative 360 is still a whole circle around, but again, notice it starts on the bottom and it goes clockwise. Okay? So these are some common reference points that we're going to use to help us today to create our angles. Alright, first example. Let's graph the angle. Let's graph a 40-degree angle. To start, I'm going to draw my XY axis, and I'm going to draw my initial side on the positive x-axis. My initial side will be the same no matter what size angle I'm making or whether it's positive or negative. My initial side will always be the positive x-axis. Alright, 40 degrees. Well, I know 40 is less than 90. How much less than 90? About halfway between 0 and 90. So I'm going to draw my terminal side about halfway between 0 and 90 degrees. And now to make it complete, I'm going to draw my arc with an arrow to say I started here. On the initial side, I travel 40 degrees and I stop right here. Alright, let's do another one. Let's do negative 80. Alright, draw the x and y axis. Do your initial side on the positive x-axis. Negative 80. That's really close to negative 90. And negative 90 is one quadrant. Negative 80 is really close to that. So I'm going to draw it somewhere around here. There's my terminal side. Now remember, because it's negative, I'm going to start on the bottom of my initial side this time and go clockwise. So I'm going to go to there, draw my arc with an arrow, and now I'm done. Okay? Let's try another one. 4 pi. Uh-oh, this is in radians, not degrees like the other ones. No big deal, we know how to convert from the first video. So let's multiply by 180 over pi. Remember the pi's cancel, so it's really just 4 times 180, which gives me 720 degrees. That's perfect, 720 degrees. Only the biggest that I know how to make is 360. So I'm going to subtract off 360 because that's the biggest that I know how to make, and I'm going to see what's left over. When I subtract 360, I get 360. So what that tells me when I make my angle is I'm actually going to go around twice, 2 whole times, so 2 circles around. Okay? So let's draw my initial side. My terminal side is going to be the same place because it's 360. I'm going to go around 2 360s. And now let's draw it in. That's what 2 360s look like. It looks like a little spiral. Okay? Let's try another one. Let's try 17 pi over 20. Again, it's in radians, so let's convert. Let's multiply by 180 over pi. The pi's reduce and leaves me with 153. Okay, 153 degrees. I know that's more than 90, but less than 180. So I'm going to guesstimate. I know it's going to be in this quadrant somewhere. I'm going to guesstimate and just draw it in. Remember, it doesn't have to be perfect. We're just estimating. So there's my initial. There's my terminal. There's my arc with an arrow because it's positive. I started on the top. Okay? Let's try a couple more examples. Let's do negative 405 degrees. Negative 405 degrees is bigger than 360. So I'm going to add 360. And it gives me negative 45. So what this means is I'm going to go around one whole 360. And then I'm going to go an extra 45 degrees. So I'm going to put my terminal side at negative 45 degrees. Okay? So here's my initial. My terminal side is at negative 45 degrees, which is halfway between 0 and negative 90. Now, I'm going to draw in my angle. It's negative, so I'm going to start on the bottom. I'm going to go around one whole 360 and then come the additional 45. So it's going to look like this. All right, last example. Negative 11 pi over 18. Again, it's in radians, so we convert. Times 180 over pi. Your pi's are going to cancel, so you're left with negative 110 degrees. Negative 110 is going to be a little bit past negative 90, so it's going to be in this quadrant over here for my terminal side. So there's my initial, there's my terminal, there's my arc with an arrow at the end.